Baronis.
Present.
Bolin.
Present.
Ganning.
Present.
Johnston. Verrett. Williams.
All present. Quorum. We have a quorum. If you would stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Right behind you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you would stay standing for just a moment. In the past few weeks, we've lost 3 people who are very important have been very important to our district. Today, we are mourning the passage of Teresa Jackson, who's a BCBA specialist in our district and very popular and very successful. I did not mention a couple of months ago that Jerry Shapiro had passed. Jerry Shapiro was a school board member for 20 years to this district. That's a lot. That's a lot. And served as president for 10. And this past week, Mike Burr passed away. Mike Burr, if you were in the fine arts in the district, know how much time he volunteered. He ran the soundboard in the old high school auditorium, but also in LCC, and gave hours and hours and hours to our district. So I just ask for a moment of silence for all 3 of those unique individuals. Thank you. You may. Okay, we get to the superintendent's report. We have good news.
Yes, we do.
2 good news items to share with you tonight. The first is from Mark Twain School. Mark Twain hosted a Grandparents' Day and Superheroes Day. We'd like to thank those who came out to both of our events. Your presence and participation is truly appreciated. The second is from our early childhood program. Almost all of our early childhood sites participated as well in a Grandparents' Day celebration. There was over 475 grandparents in and out of our classrooms on September 6th. Students presented their grandparents with a personalized mug and a keepsake picture drawn by their special little one. So thank you to all of those grandparents. Those are our 2 items of good news.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gilbert. Would you like to go ahead with your report regarding instruction?
Yes, please. So this evening, I have 2 items to share with you. The first is an update from last week. We had a curriculum committee meeting, or I believe it was 2 weeks ago on September 11th. We had a curriculum committee meeting. And during that meeting, we shared some information about technology here. Sorry about that. While that's getting started, I'll just share in general, during our curriculum board meeting, we talked about a variety of topics. Most importantly, we really focused in on teaching and learning, and through our continuum from early childhood through high school, talked about how what we do aligns with the Illinois Learning Standards and the early childhood standards of learning. There was quite a bit of time this past summer spent by many different individuals. I'd like to just briefly acknowledge Pam Powell, Crystal Clifton, Gabriel Garrett, and our content specialists who spent a lot of time this summer aligning our instructional planning efforts, including creating a variety of documents that really help pull together a lot of information that our teachers are navigating on a daily basis. So this is just one quick screenshot we have here. K3 through 4-6, we have a new website that was unveiled earlier this summer that outlines the pacing of our curriculum and instruction that teachers are following. 7, 8, and 9 through 12 are also housed on our district website. And preschool has a variety of specific standards that they are working in a continuum to ensure that from our earliest learners through high school, we have some vertical and horizontal articulation, meaning that we're talking between grade levels as well as across grade levels. And that is also a goal of ours this year. Here's a quick snapshot of what it looks like at the elementary. I know this is a lot, but in a quick snapshot, it captures our calendar, as well as the units of study, the alignment to standards, how it aligns with our report card descriptors, and then also support tools. So a teacher can easily access this at the K-5 level and see the larger continuum of what they should be working on throughout that timeline. At the high school, they're focusing in, this here is just a quick snapshot of the different competencies that they're working on that are aligned by content, as well as a rubric that helps support what the competencies are and what the appropriate evaluation of those competencies include. Speaking of assessments, there's a balance of formative and summative, so assessment of learning and assessment for learning. And again, from pre-K through 12th grade, we have a variety of instruments that we are continually utilizing to monitor our students' progress towards the standards they are learning throughout the school year. We have some work to continue to do in these areas, including greater alignment and articulation of how our students are doing as compared to the summative standardized assessments, such as the Illinois Assessment of Readiness, which is taken in grades 3 through 8, as well as what will be coming this year for the ACT suite of assessments. Moving on beyond curriculum instruction, my immunization report for this evening. We've been talking about this here for the last few meetings, but I would like to continue to remind our community that there are several immunization and health requirements for students in pre-K through 12th grade. Thank you to our building nurses as well as our administrators who are already working collaboratively to notify our families regarding the immunization and or health requirements that their students need to be in compliance. We're going to continue to make calls to our families, send letters and emails home. We also will be deploying a call center beginning next Monday, where we have throughout the day, with it being a Learning Anywhere, Anytime day, a variety of support that will be reaching out to our families in both English and Spanish to help create the awareness, continue to create that awareness of what it is that is needed for our children. This requirement may include a physical examination, which is for students entering preschool, kindergarten, 6th and 9th grade, and any other new student to our district. They need to have that by October 15th of 2024, and there is a specific form that needs to be completed and a signature from a doctor. A health or sports physical will not suffice for a physical examination requirement. So in short, what this means is that by October 15th, if your child is not in compliance, they will be excluded from classes, meaning they will be unable to attend school until these requirements are met. So if you have any questions or if you're wondering if this pertains to you, feel free to reach out to the school nurse and or our health clinics, as both of them have a lot of information as it relates to each student individually. At our last report on September 6th, we had over about 2,200 students that were not compliant. As of today, we have 1,939 students who are considered not compliant. So that could be a variety of efforts, meaning just a physical and immunization, just immunizations. I would like to thank the hard work of our buildings. Of the 299 less students from our last meeting, our high school has over 68 students fewer from our last report. Kennedy, 43 fewer students, and King. But all schools Mark Twain went 19 last, Edison 14, Steuben 5, Taft 12, LCC 22. I keep going on because they're working hard on a daily basis to reach out to our families. So thank you, administrators, thank you, nurses, and family. If there's anything we can continue to do to help and support you, our health clinics are available for physical and immunizations, as well as the Kankakee Health Department. And if you do have a physician, they would also be able to support you in meeting these requirements. Just to put on everyone's radar, we will not be excluding, but we also have a dental examination requirement for any student in kindergarten, second, and sixth grade, which is needed to be on file by May 15th, as well as a vision examination requirement for any student entering kindergarten or is new to our school system. Again, here's the flyer for our back-to-school clinics, 8 to 3:30, Monday through Friday. We have locations at Kankakee High School as well as Kankakee Junior High to begin to meet our families' needs. Are there any questions?
Does the board have any questions? Any board member?
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to finance or business.
Well, and while Dr. Gilbert was giving that presentation on immunizations, I was reminded of the phone call I got from my daughter's nurse earlier today that my daughter's not compliant, so I have to take care of that in the next couple days. So she's a senior. I didn't think she needed anything. So thank you very much. I just wanted to talk a little bit about our monthly report. And this is just kind of a snapshot of where we are each month that we talk about. And I had several people approach me last time, so I wanted to get into a couple little pieces of this a little bit more. But essentially, this is taking a look at all of our funds, and we have 9 different funds that we use to account for the expenses of the district. And over on the right-hand side, you see a blue circle and an orange circle or a gold circle. Now, those are a little misleading until I explain how they work. That number in that blue circle does say it is a surplus in all the funds. So if you look, it says revenues to date in the bar graph over there on the left, and then next to it is the expenditures to date. And you can see that the revenues far outpace the expenses. But it's important to understand we don't get the same revenues every single month. So at the beginning of the year, we get a lot of our revenue, and we have to keep it in the bank. And then we keep writing checks against that until we get the next round of revenue. So sometimes our balance gets higher, sometimes lower. So that $10,751,000 does not mean we have $11 million surplus. What that means is that's what we have in the bank after all the bills were paid at the end of August. And we are now continuing to pay bills out of it. So just as another little guidance, just a little piece here, if you want to figure out what this means for yourself, you take the revenues for July and August, add them together, add the expenditures together, then subtract the expenses from the revenues. That gives you the number in the blue circle. That does, and like I said, that doesn't mean we have that to spend and just say, well, gee, we just got an extra 10 million. The yellow circle or the orange or the brown or the gold or whatever you want to call it, that one is just taking into account our operating funds. And these are the 4 funds we generally work with throughout the year. So you can see those 4 funds there. And that one's a little bit less because it doesn't have the bond and interest in it. And so that amount is taken out. As you can see, our expenditures are a little bit less than they were this time last year. And as I pointed out in our last meeting, the fact that we're not building a community center and we don't have a lot of construction projects going on, as well as the loss of some federal grants, is a big part of that. So while we're spending about $2 million less, we still are spending. Based on what you see here, breaking this down a little bit more, we've had about $5 million in revenues. This should be, okay, this is revenues, I'm sorry. revenues, and then we have about 23 million that we've received year to date, and we have a total budgeted of 88 million, which means we got about 25% of our revenues this year. I moved ahead in my mind, sorry. These are the expenditures, and we've spent about 14% of our expenditures this year, so we've spent about $1.25 million less than this time last year. And again, you can see what that rate is versus the total we've gotten, plus looking at the total budgeted expenses, about 14% so far. This is the cash flow report. You can kind of ignore everything from September over. You're really looking at July and August. And what this shows you at the top graph is the monthly revenues for, in the orange, it's this year, for blue was last year. So we've taken in more in July, a little bit less in August than last year. For the expenditures in the middle, we've spent a little more in July, a little less in August than last year. And now if you look at the end of the month fund balances at the bottom, we're a little bit less than last year, but again, that's the federal funds and some of the capital projects money that we don't have this time. So we are still on track with our budget, and we are doing well, yoo-hoo, after 2 months. So we're going to try to keep that going for 12, if we can. So, any questions on the financial report?
Any board member have a question on the financial report? Keep the good news flowing, that's what we want. Okay. There are no other questions, so we'll move on to HR personnel.
And so I continue to sit, and we're going to talk about some of our recruitment efforts and some of the positions that we're recruiting for. And to help us with that is Dr. Morgan Harris.
Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Lance.
Good evening.
Recruitment efforts. So in my new role as the Staff Engagement and Recruitment Coordinator, some of our recruitment efforts have included reaching across to universities and colleges across the state of Illinois and creating partnerships with universities to create a sustainable pipeline of certified teachers to the classroom. Additionally, attending job fairs across the state, and I have a few more to go to. And then lastly, increasing our presence on social media and LinkedIn and various different job boards like Indeed and ISA Job Bank. And I think that's all of the job boards for now. So those are recruitment efforts. Currently, we still have vacancies. We are in search of an interim assistant superintendent of human resources, assistant principal, several elementary teaching positions, several middle school and junior high teaching positions, several high school teaching positions, and a few dozen operations and departments positions. Our current vacancies for student support services, we are really in search of a lot of social workers, special education teachers, and as you see, the various vacancies here on the screen. So, if you know of anyone interested in working for our wonderful district, please have them to visit KSD 111 to apply now.
Any questions from the board? Any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we get to have a principal's report, correct?
Yeah. Mr. Harris?
Come on up, Mr. Harris.
Everybody. Good evening, members of the school board, Superintendent Dr. Lance, members of the community, our colleagues. Welcome to Avis Huff. First slide you see here is our amazing staff, welcoming members, pictures of our staff members for this school year. I'm excited. We've seen some great things this year, as I'll share with you in just a couple of minutes. Here at Avis Independence Academy, our students have accepted the challenge to be better. And you can see that if you stop by. The relationships are solid and the communication is good with our students. A little progress each day adds up to big results. In my career, I've been a special ed teacher. I've served as an administrator of special ed schools, and I've worked in alternative sites. We're doing a lot of academics. Our students are working hard. It can be different. Students can be disenchanted, but here the environment is great, and they have been challenged at work, and they've accepted that challenge to do their academics, and they're completing a lot of classwork. And I'm very happy about that, because that is not a trait that is always in the positive in alternative settings. So we're very excited about that. Our community relationships. Very happy to be working with these agencies, and over half of the groups that you see listed here solicited us and wanted to work with our students. Very excited about that. Kankakee United, Harbor House, to name a few. Building relationships. Each of our schools this school year spent the first week or so building relationships with our students. Here at Avis Huff in the Independence Academy, it was no different. And I want to acknowledge the work that the kids did in being receptive to our teachers as we establish those relationships. It makes a huge difference as they go into the classrooms and work with our students on different things. Because the days can be different for the students, and challenges come up throughout the day, whether they're things that they bring into the building from home. But in a nutshell, they have been receptive to what we've been doing to make their environment conducive to learning. So very happy about that. Here at Avis, building student self-confidence and social-emotional skill levels are some of the things that we're applying to the students and providing students programs to increase academic and employability skills for their future. You can see some of the other bullet points listed. I won't read them all to you, but those are some of the things we're challenging the students to do here at Avis South. Our attendance average for the month of September was 86%. I thought that was great. For the school year, we were at 71%. I checked with Joe, and I'm very happy about the attendance that we're getting from our students on a daily basis. Current climate. Balanced by the community partnerships and the staff to meet the social emotional needs of all students is what is happening here with our kids. And we're going to leave you with some testimonials, and you'll get to hear from the kids themselves how genuine things are here at Avis South.
The thing that I love about Avis is the fact that we know how to move around, walk around the school, and the fact that the teachers actually come and help instead of just watching through the word. And I like the food here.
All right, what's the things that you look forward to when you're this year?
The field trips, playing sports, and then graduating.
All right, thank you. Okay, and what's the things that you look forward to doing this year?
The field trips be, maybe volleyball season 2.
All right, answer the first question.
First question, 3 things I enjoyed this year so far is the teachers helping me out and the food and the staffs.
Okay, and next question.
3 things I'm looking forward to doing this year.
Right.
Getting a great skin, doing good, and being successful.
All right, thank you.
I'm doing that. I'm doing and nobody know me and it's kind of school nervous. And then they say main 3 things we're looking forward to do it at Avis this year. Graduating
things I enjoyed about A's this year was meeting the new teachers, my classmates, and again, letting my work done. I'm looking forward to getting a job, graduating, and just getting a good education.
I'm enjoying the kids coming to school on time. Great attitude, and they seem to be motivated to want to do work. Man, it's really forward to this. One of the main things I'm looking forward to is chopping kids. Chopping them to grow.
Three things that I am looking forward to Amy's this year is our birthday celebrations for all of our students to make them feel like this is more of a family. The field trips that we are going on, the students are very excited about that, and just the overall success that the students will see this year with us.
At this time, I want to recognize the Ava South Independence Academy staff members that came out. I see Ms. Wilkie, Ms. Morris, Mr. Harper, and Mr. Jordan. That's part of the working staff, the daily working staff, and they have built great relationship with our students. I want to thank them all, especially our Ava South Student Support Services who work as a team to support us because we're in the same building. Huge shout out to Ms. Starkey and just our entire staff as they pull together. It's really been a community effort for my staff, and I just think we're doing some good things. Any questions, board members?
Any questions from the board? No. I see none. Thank you very much, Mr. Harris.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is public comments. Ashley Sanchez, is Ashley Sanchez here? One of the new things that has happened since Dr. Lance has been here is we've added an option of emailing public comments to the board. If we get them before 15 minutes before the board meeting, we'll try to read them going forward. And Ms. Sanchez, I believe, sent us a public comment that we will share with the rest of the board after the meeting. But somebody else who's here to do a public comment is Robert S. Ellington Snipes.
You're going to read your statement.
I want to read my statement, Robert. Can't do it without that. Thank you. Please give your name and direct your comments to the president and the board. The president will recognize members of the audience who wish to make comments to the board regarding any topics related to school district business. The board will take all comments under advisement without discussion, which means the board will not respond tonight. If a member of the public raises an issue or concern that requires follow-up, the board president or superintendent will do so in a timely manner. Please give us your name and direct your comments to the board and the president. Please make sure there are no personal attacks and civility reigns supreme. Comments are limited to 5 minutes. All individuals are to conduct themselves with respect and civility towards others. Thank you. Mr. Snipes.
Thank you to the Board of Education and to Dr. Lance. First of all, let me preface this by saying thank you to Dr. Lance. There's been many issues that could have come up before this board. There could have been ULPs filed, a lot of things, but in her due diligence of keeping with her commitment at the beginning of the year where she said, I will return an email within 48 hours. She has done that as of right now, par excellence. We say thank you as far as that's concerned. She definitely has a big task in this particular district as she builds relationships, as she tries to right a lot of wrongs. I wore my Pac-Man jacket for a reason. It reminds me of when we had fun playing games back in the day. But Pac-Man had a strategy, and it had to basically eat as many of those dots as possible and avoid a lot of the ghosts, and it had to get to that little big dot in order to turn them white to be able to eat them. But what I'm saying now is that the task that's before her, she's basically handling it and handling it well. And I hear the positive throughout the district, so I want to say thank you. Now, I just want to bring your attention quickly. I generally never had to stand up here concerning the Black History Program. Though it tended to be great and there's some variables after COVID, and we've done some great things. One thing that bothers me, and that is when we apply for positions in the district, it is under the union contract of the teachers. And when you divert from that, you run the risk of a ULP. Now, I have been the musical director down through the years, I know over 10 years or whatever, and when I had it last year, when I looked at what was paid is not what was in the contract. Matter of fact, it was down by 75%. And I think we need to look into that. I did do a FOIA, but things are all over the place. So I won't belabor you with that, but I will belabor you with the fact that we need to address the issue of a 75% reduction from that's already been established in the union book. There are 2 people. It used to be 4, but the Black History Program goes down to 2, and there was the director, and then there was the musical director. And if you look at what was paid, you'll see there was 75% less in that category. So I ask that's no diligence on the part of the current superintendent. It was in a previous administration that we need to have this corrected or whatever, and in the last school year. So I ask that you look at it, and if we can resolve it, that's great. If not, we will do what we have to do to resolve that. It should not have been done that way. And then I leave with this caveat. Black History is in February. Generally, we have the bids and stuff out for the director and then for the musical director now, because it is a production. It is a lot of work, and we want to diligently get with these kids so that we can have the best performance as ever. As you can see, over 200 and some kids have been in our previous Black History program, and it calls the light to shine. We packed out LCC with over 1,200 seats or whatever it is in that building or whatever, and we want to get back to that category or whatever. But when I look at the salary of discouragement, I'm asking that you at least put it back to where it should have been and encourage us to be able to keep doing what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Asking each board member to review the consent agenda. Is there any item, meaning items 1 through 9, that you need to have removed from the consent agenda? Any item to be removed from the consent agenda? Get to you in a minute. Hearing none, I need a...
Tracy?
Yeah.
Tracy, Ms. Barrett had her hand up.
Wait a minute, make a motion.
I got to sign that.
Make a motion.
Yeah.
We need a motion to approve the consent agenda, and then I understand there's an amendment to be made to the motion.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Gathing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bronis?
Yes.
Okay, second by Ms. Bronis. Now, Ms. Brett, I understand you have a motion to amend the consent agenda to remove one of...
Yes, motion to remove Amy Ulrich.
Okay, and she's under the licensed educational professional, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, is there a second to amend the motion with this amendment?
Second.
Second by Ms. Archie. Any other discussion, comments, debate regarding this motion? Hearing none, please call the roll for approval of the consent agenda as amended.
Archie?
Yes.
Baronis?
Yes.
Gathing?
Yes.
Johnston?
Yes.
Verrett?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Bolin?
Yes. 7 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Moving ahead to action items. First is approval of the ratification of the transportation contract for the next 3 years. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Made by Mr. Gathing. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Johnson. Any discussion, debate, or concern? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Baronis,
Yes.
Gathing,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Verret,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Archie, Bolin,
Yes. Motion carries 7 ayes, 0 nays. Next relates to the uniform policy that has been reviewed by the board at the policy committee meeting. Is there a motion first to approve the updated uniform policy?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Baronis,
Second.
second by Mr. Williams. Okay, for information purposes, the enforcement of the uniform policy is currently in place, but will be reinvigorated at the high school beginning the second quarter, which is October 15th?
October 21st is when we want everyone in uniform.
Okay, October 21st is the day that everybody will be expected to be in the uniforms. The policies consistent with the code, the dress code that's part of the uniform policy. Any other questions, discussion, or debate regarding this updated policy? Anybody want to make any comments? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Gathing,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Verret,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Archie, Baronis,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes, 7 ayes, 0 noes, motion carries. Next is approval to remove the Section 9 COVID protocols from their existing policy.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Gathing. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Johnston. Is there any debate, discussion, or comment regarding this change in policy? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Johnston,
Yes.
Verret,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Archie,
Yes.
Baronis,
Yes.
Gathing,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes, 7 ayes, 0 noes, motion carries. The last action item is approval to purchase the Press Plus for the board policy. This is to help us organize and relieve some of the task of organization from Ms. Thornton. Going forward, is there a motion to approve the purchase of the Press Plus for the board policies?
So move.
Moved by Mr. Gathing. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Williams. Any discussion, debate, or comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Verret,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Archie, Baronis,
Yes.
Gathing,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes, 7 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Moving down the rest of the agenda, information and proposals are information that's provided. If you need any questions, let us know. There is no old business. Any announcements? Calendar notes, the board is having a retreat on September 28th. Another of our ongoing retreats that Dr. Lance is trying to help get us into shape. She's got a big task. The rest of the calendar notes, September 30th, LAA Day is coming up next week. October 14th, there's no school. October 15th is our next board meeting. Any other comments from any of the board members? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Moved by Mr. Gathing, seconded by Ms. Archie.